Can I tell you a secret?
I think you might be a songwriter.
When we think about movies that get remade again and again, a lot of them tend to be literary classics, or they might be monster horrors, superhero epics. And then there's A Star is Born. This Hollywood story of a man who believes in a woman's talent doesn't immediately seem like a movie that needs to be made over and over again. Yet the fourth version of this movie is hitting theaters. So what makes A Star is Born so timeless?
Hey! You mind if I take just one more look?
Hey. I just want to take another look at you.
Hey, Esther.
What?
I was just taking another look.
Hey,
What?
I just want to take another look at you.
The 2018 version has crafted a canny marketing strategy around stars Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper that taps into what the story has always been about: the power of two artists who believe in each other's talent.
And when you see an artist of that caliber treat you like a peer, it's very emboldening.
There was a true exchange. You know, he accepted me as an actress and I accept him fully as a musician.
This movie is the quintessential Hollywood tale,
Here she is, ladies and gentlemen, a star that shines bright and high.
capturing the all-encompassing romance of show business, the thrill of someone truly believing in you, the rise to stardom, the pitfalls of fame, and the complex male-female dynamics of the process. So let's look back at all of these Star is Born movies and explore why our culture keeps returning to this tale.
I have A Star is Born, all three versions. We can compare and contrast performances and dosages.
Before we go on, we want to talk a little about this video's sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is a superb online learning community with thousands of classes about everything: vlogging, cinematography, even painting with watercolors. Click the link in the description below to get 2 months access to all classes for free.
Norman, it's so exciting,
So new. A star is born.
The premise of A Star is Born is this: a world-weary star meets a talented ingenue and encourages her to follow her dreams.
You'll soon know your name, Esther. The whole world's going to know it.
They fall in love and she becomes a huge success, at the same time as his inner demons are driving his career downhill.
I'm sorry, baby, I can't find my place. They don't seem to have a place for me down here.
Beware, spoilers are coming for the older versions of the movie, but not the 2018 version. Eventually, he dies. In the 1937 and 1954 movies, the man drowns himself. And in the 1976 version, he dies in a car crash after some reckless driving. This story has now been made into 4 movies, and they each came out in a very different decade. A 5th movie, George Cukor's What Price Hollywood in 1932, is also sometimes considered an unofficial precursor and inspiration for A Star is Born.
You are a motion picture star. You belong to the public. They make you and they break you.
Cukor actually turned down the opportunity to direct the first version of A Star is Born in '37 because he thought it was too similar to What Price Hollywood.
Why do you drink all the time? Can't you cut the heavy swilling?
Want to be bored all the time?
No, Mr. Niles isn't slipping me a case of scotch, Cuddles. This is just a handshake.
But he eventually went on to direct the '54 musical remake starring Judy Garland and James Mason, which is considered the best version up to this point.
She said that that's what star quality was, that little something extra. Well, you've got it.
The '76 movie, starring Barbra Streisand and Chris Christopherson, kept the same basic plot as the 2 earlier films, but set the story in the music world.
There's a little ball of fire inside you whenever you hook into a really big marlin. And you never forget it. And that's what it felt like. Hearing you sing.
And the newest Star is Born focuses on the music industry too.
It's the same story, told over and over.
You might be wondering, is A Star is Born based on a true story? The '37 movie took some inspiration from the lives of real stars like John Barrymore and John Bowers. Bowers was a silent film star who drowned in a presumed suicide while A Star is Born was in production. People have also speculated that the central relationship in the '37 movie was based on the real-life marriage of Barbara Stanwyck and Frank Fay, since Stanwyck became very successful as Fay's career faltered, just like in the film. The casting of Lady Gaga as the female lead, Ally, is a savvy meta move that completely fits with both the narrative and the history of A Star is Born. This film capitalizes on Gaga's real-life journey from being Stephanie Germanotta to becoming a pop icon.
This movie is a story that I know, that it is a part of my real life.
We've seen other movies play on an actor's persona or life story. Think Iron Man, The Wrestler, or Sunset Boulevard. And this technique is so effective because it indulges the viewer's curiosity about the actor's real personality and past. There's kind of a mythology surrounding Lady Gaga's rise to fame. Because she's such a performative, shape-shifting star, her pre-fame self feels very mysterious to us. So, A Star is Born lets us experience what that journey may have been like for her, and also exposes a stripped-down version of her that we've never had access to before. The new movie also plays on Lady Gaga's real-life relationship to her appearance. Gaga has said, quote, "When my character talks about how ugly she feels, that was real. I'm so insecure." She's described being told to get a nose job early in her career, and in the film, Ali has faced the same thing.
Almost every single person that I've come in contact with in the music industry has told me that my nose is too big and that I won't make it.
The 1954 A Star is Born played on Judy Garland's persona in the same way. Garland was known for being very insecure about her looks.
It's the nose. The nose is the problem.
It's kind of surprising that the '76 movie didn't make this a part of Barbra Streisand's character's story too, since it's well known that Streisand was not considered conventionally beautiful and refused to get a nose job. Cooper and Lady Gaga have also been incredibly clever about crafting a narrative around making this movie that mirrors the story itself.
I've always wanted to be an actress, and there can be 100 people in the room and 99 don't believe in you, and you just need one to believe in you, and that was him.
Just as Jackson Maine discovers Ali as a singer, press around the film has been fanning the idea of Cooper believing in Lady Gaga as an actress when no one else did, even though she's already won a Golden Globe for acting. Listen to this anecdote about Cooper insisting that Gaga go makeup-free during the screen test.
He had a makeup wipe in his hand, and he put his hand on my face, and he went like this, and there was makeup. We had put just a little bit, and he said, "I want no makeup on your face."
Now, take every bit of that junk off your face.
So, this story is about Cooper making Lady Gaga feel comfortable in her own skin, just as Jackson encourages Ali to sing her own songs and love her nose.
Your nose is beautiful.
Pretty much every interview Cooper and Gaga do together is a love fest.
I just fell in love with her face and eyes, so I mean, that wasn't anything other than I just wanted to be as close as possible in shooting it.
She's such a beautiful human being.
So are you. Thank you, Bradley.
So in these off-screen marketing situations, these two stars are recreating the A Star is Born romance. The idea of having an artistic partner who sees your potential, is completely captivated by your talent, and has boundless faith in you.
Look at me. All you gotta do is trust me. That's all you gotta do.
This shrewd casting and marketing, the way that the story of fame extends off-screen, has always been a part of A Star is Born. The '54 version was intended as a comeback for Judy Garland after a period of personal upheaval, and it was also a way for her then-husband, Sidney Luft, to prove himself as a producer.
My darling husband.
I know your darling husband.
He did the whole thing.
Film critic Karina Longworth argues that the '76 movie was likewise intended to present Streisand in a new light and give her then-boyfriend John Peters more credibility as a producer.
The 1976 version was designed as an image makeover vehicle for Streisand, through which she could prove that she was hip to a culture that had changed while she was making mostly old-fashioned musical movies.
A big draw of the new A Star is Born is that it's Lady Gaga's first major film acting role and Cooper's directorial debut. We also get to hear Cooper sing.
Maybe it's time to let the old ways down.
Just as in the '76 movie, people were intrigued to see Chris Christopherson act.
Where to?
Back about 10 years.
Since he was more well known as a singer.
Watch closely now.
So part of the allure of this movie has always been exploring the way that Stardom operates both within the story and through the film as a vehicle for its players.
It's all yours, baby. Everything you want. Your own personal piece of American dream.
At the same time, the real-life sagas surrounding A Star is Born have sometimes proved the movie's darker message about the transitory nature of fame. The 37 film star, Janet Gaynor, would only do a few more movies after this one before she chose to retire. And despite the hoopla about Judy Garland's comeback, she aligned more with the fading male star than with the rising ingenue at this stage of her life. Her unstable behavior, drug dependency, and illness caused production delays. and this was actually one of her last major roles. She would die of a barbiturate overdose in her 40s.
You don't know what it's like to watch somebody you love just crumble away bit by bit, day by day, in front of your eyes.
A Star is Born presents an intriguing portrait of what love is, especially for creative types. The foundation of this romance is two people's mutual need to express themselves artistically.
I somehow feel most alive when I'm singing.
The male lead is drawn to the female character because he recognizes her talent and creative spark, and the woman is drawn to him because he sees this in her.
He gave me a look at myself I've never had before. He saw something in me nobody else ever did. And he made me see it, too.
At one point in the '76 movie, Streisand's character plays a tune on the piano that she doesn't think could ever be a song.
Make a hell of a song.
I can't imagine that. It goes so high, nobody could ever sing it.
But then Christopherson's character makes up a song to that tune.
Time has come again.
So the symbolism is that this love is about facilitating each other's self-expression. Together they can create something beautiful that they can't apart. But there's also the sense that for artists, romance must always come second to the need to make art.
Norman, you make this sound like the end of something instead of the beginning. You make it sound like goodbye.
I've done all I can for you. You've come along the road with me as far as you should.
And there's a lesson in the movie that love isn't everything. It can't fix a deep personal unhappiness or emotional void.
Love isn't enough. I thought it was. I thought I was the answer for Norman. But love isn't enough for him.
I love you, Johnny. But it's not enough, is it?
As her career takes off while his falters, he doesn't know how to deal, and some interesting gender dynamics can result. He might feel emasculated.
You can live off your wife now.
And not be able to take being reduced to just a husband or a secretary.
No, Miss Lester isn't home as yet. No, I'm not the butler.
Or he might disagree with the direction her career is going in. He makes a drunken scene at an awards show where the woman is being honored.
Well, play something, somebody.
But even as the man screws up royally, the story still suggests that he's redeemed by the initial good thing he did, believing in the female character and helping her get her big break.
What makes you so sure about me?
I heard you sing.
Yeah, but
I know, just my word. But you know yourself, don't you? You just needed somebody to tell you.
Significantly, while he does get her that chance in Hollywood, the truly important thing he does is give her the courage to dream a bigger dream for herself.
You're better than that. You're better than you know. Don't settle for the little dream. Go on to the big one.
There's even a father-daughter dynamic between the couple in the way that her talent seems to represent an extension of his legacy, and in how selflessly he devotes himself to her career.
Look, forget the camera. It's the Downbeat Club at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you're singing for yourself?
In the '54 version, after Norman hears Vicky say she'll stop working to take care of him,
I can't do any more pictures.
He drowns himself so this won't happen. So Norman essentially becomes a martyr. Later, Vicky's friend says this.
His love for you and your success, that was the one thing in his life that wasn't a waste, and he knew it. Maybe he was wrong to do what he did, I don't know, but he didn't want to destroy that. Destroy the only thing he took pride in.
In the '37, '54, and '76 movies, in the final scene after her husband has died, the female character uses some form of the man's last name.
This is Mrs. Norman Maine. This is Mrs. Norman Maine.
Ladies and gentlemen, Esther Hoffman Howard.
So this is a tribute to the fact that his faith in this woman's talent was an incredible gift that made everything possible for her.
For a chance of being something bigger than I ever dreamed of. And I'm not going to turn back now.
The show must go on. That is the performer's first commandment.
But Mason's Norman Maine couldn't take it anymore.
A Star is Born gives us a pretty clear-eyed look at what fame really entails. We get to see the spectacle of it and the loneliness of it.
The thing about fame that I find fascinating is the sonic element of it, and that's what we have in the movie. You know, it's very much like there's tons of noise, and then all of a sudden you're alone.
And the movie makes it clear that fame isn't an answer or a cure for what's wrong in our lives.
They love my music. You think I got all the answers?
You mean you don't?
I don't even understand the questions, man.
There isn't a man here that's had the advantages you've had, and look what you've done with them.
Fame and love are not enough to overcome this man's addiction, which stems from a deep underlying unhappiness that he's not faced.
What is it that makes him want to destroy himself?
We see this from the beginning of the 54 version in the scene where Norman Maine breaks these mirrors, which tells us he's on a path to destroying himself and his image.
I destroy everything I touch. I always have.
But for many years, the Hollywood machine masks, covers up, and enables his problem, rather than forcing him to address it.
20 years of steady and quiet drinking do something to a man.
And when he's at his lowest point, the business just moves on.
I need a job. It's as simple as that. I need a job, that's all.
This was not a musical comedy. This was a musical drama about the sad ironies of show business.
So most of all, the story's message about fame is that it's fickle and ephemeral. The two main characters embody that never-ending cycle of one star rising while another flames out. This impermanence is the tragedy at the center of A Star is Born.
How I hate to run into these has-beens. They give me the creeps.
Me too.
He was good while he had it, and he had it quite a while.
A person's great accomplishments can suddenly be meaningless, but the positive side of this is that it's always a new up-and-comer's turn to get their chance.
You know what your chances are? 1 in 100,000.
But maybe I'm that one.
More than 80 years after the first film, A Star is Born keeps returning into our shared consciousness because so little about show business truly changes. The romance of stardom never goes out of style, and the cycle of fame keeps on spinning.
The wheel goes round and round. And if you just wait long enough, it's finally your turn.
This is Zach Mulligan. Zach is an award-winning cinematographer whose new movie, We the Animals, premiered at Sundance this year. And he teaches a class on cinematography basics on Skillshare.
When I work with the director, there's a whole visual toolkit we like to use to really delve into the emotional story of a character and figure out how to treat a character's arc visually or a story arc visually.
This is why we love Skillshare's service. The classes are taught by amazing, accomplished working professionals in design, photography, social media, business, entrepreneurship, and more. In fact, Skillshare has actually helped us at Screen Prism learn more about animation and design. They offer 20,000 classes about any skill you might want to learn, all for less than $10 a month. Right now, you can get 2 months access to all their classes for free, but that's only if you're one of the first 500 people to click the link in our description below. It's a great deal, so hurry up and don't miss out.